just love it. That is fast. We've just got drama on the track. Oh no! A crucial move in the championship.
Boom. See how you get on with that, son.
This is like Glastonbury on wheels.
This is what Ferrari want.
5 races to go. This is Formula One.
Presence is a curious thing. If you need to prove you've got it, you probably never had it in the first place. It's not about an ostentatious adolescent display. It should be something effortless. Someone once said, the whisper is louder than the shout. Well, we're just about to find out.
Good evening, as it is here in Singapore. So, 14 races down, 5 to go, and the 2010 Formula One season is proving to be as enthralling as it is unpredictable. 5 men are in the hunt for the title, and all of them will know that a failure to score points under the lights here this evening could seriously damage their title hopes. Welcome to a highly pressurised Singapore Grand Prix. And this is a place that doesn't suffer fools. Every Grand Prix here has featured a safety car and numerous retirements. The humidity asks questions of a driver's fitness. The 24 corners ask questions of a car's balance and brakes. It's the perfect place to stand up and be counted. And counting is very much part of the game now. Every driver, every team knows how many points can be won and lost between here and the end of the season in Abu Dhabi. For 5, it's now all about the title. And David, with that in mind, there's very much a feeling here that although this is a special event always, it's more than just another race this season. This is very much a sort of watershed weekend this year, isn't it?
Well, indeed, we're into what is the first of 5 flyaway races. That means all these cars are going to live in a box effectively between each of these Grand Prix. Difficult for the teams to do upgrades and develop just because of the difficulties of getting the parts from Europe out to these events.
And Eddie, it must feel very strange for the guys behind us. You can see them, they're all lined up with their tyres getting ready to go to the grid. And it is 7:15 in the evening.
Yes, but I think each and every person, never mind the teams, they've all kept their watches on UK time. For them, there's no real difference. We got up later and we go to bed later by the local time, but we are still on UK time. I think that's probably alleviated a lot of that particular jet lag system.
Sure, OK, well, late to bed for all of the drivers here. But when they do go to the bed, I'm sure that 5 of them anyway are thinking about the championship at the moment, because this is how tight it is. Perhaps for the past few races, Sebastian Vettel's been having nightmares rather than dreams. He has 24 points behind Mark Webber at the moment, his teammate, and as far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned, well, Ferrari are still in the hunt just about 60 points behind Red Bull, but it's very close at the moment between Red Bull and McLaren. So how do you ensure a good race weekend at a circuit where overtaking is really at a premium? Well, you qualify well, of course. Here's what happened yesterday with Ted Kravitz.
What better way to spend a Saturday night in Singapore? Put the lights on and go out for a drive. Felipe Massa's evening came to an abrupt halt minutes into first qualifying. A gearbox failure left the car juddering to a halt and the Brazilian at the back of the grid.
I couldn't carry on, nothing was working in the car, couldn't change the gears, nothing, and then when I back off, the rear wheel blocked.
Second qualifying saw two rookies caught out by unforced errors. Vitaly Petrov didn't help his chances of retaining his Renault drive with this spin, while Nico Hülkenberg underperformed in his Williams. The car's capable of sixth on the grid in the hands of teammate Barrichello. Hülkenberg left feeling tired and tetchy. The drivers kept cool as the action hotted up in qualifying 3. Michael Schumacher slid his way into the top 10 for the first time since the British Grand Prix in July, even though he needed reminding.
Is it that long ago? Well, I didn't know about it, but anyway, yes, it's good, and even more, being on the right side of the grid is quite important here.
But the battle for pole would come down to the 5 title contenders. Mark Webber admitted he just wasn't fast enough and ended up at the back of the championship pack.
Having trouble getting the rhythm around here, and so yeah, there's a few places where I know I lost time on most of my laps because of I wasn't fast enough. Simple as that.
The McLarens have found some speed, but not enough to beat Ferrari or Red Bull over one lap, although Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton feel they have the race pace to make up positions today.
We're quite happy and comfortable in that position. I think there we can fight for a win, so our starts have been pretty good, so hopefully we'll both be able to jump at least one.
Not too bad, fourth. A lot closer to the Red Bulls. Ferrari looks quick as well, but yeah, reasonably happy.
So the battle for the front row would be between Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. Vettel's first lap was wasted when he hit traffic, while a brush with the wall cost him time on his final attempt. Without that, the Red Bull would have been on pole.
Second sector was a bit messy, 11, 12, 13. I also hit the wall slightly. I simply lost a little bit too much time and was trying to recover in the last sector, but unfortunately it wasn't good enough.
That left Ferrari to light up Singapore. Fernando Alonso took pole position by 0.06 of a second, his 20th career pole, putting him in prime position to close the gap at the top of the championship.
It's a 2-hour race, so anything can happen. Safety cars, the start, the rain, so many factors that we need to control all of them.
So Fernando Alonso ready to lead the field off into the darkness from pole position. Vettel alongside and ready to attack. It's an all-McLaren row 2, while championship leader Mark Webber is in damage limitation mode starting 5th. Nico Rosberg and Robert Kubica 7th and 8th for Mercedes and Renault. Creditable performances from Kobayashi and Alguersuari. Nick Heidfeld starts 14th on his F1 return. Timo Glock's Virgin is the best of the new teams, while Christian Klein outqualifies his Spaniard teammate Bruno Senna. Felipe Massa's last of all, completing a Ferrari sandwich of the Singapore grid.
So interesting times, particularly here in McLaren. Jenson Button right there starts 4th on the grid. Lewis Hamilton alongside him in the garage starts 3rd, and of course they're in the same team and both pushing for the world title. And you can see Lewis there, he's just gone around the whole garage and shaken hands with every single member of the team. And interestingly, David, he didn't just shake hands with the guys on his side of the garage, but with the guys on Jenson's side as well. That's nice, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I was standing right at the front of his car. I was there with my hand up.
He ignored you.
Straight past.
Well, that's no good. That's no good at all. But what
you're
is...
a BBC man. You're no longer a racing driver, David. You've got to understand that.
It's true. Times have changed. I mean, that's bad news. But the good news is that the way the grid is sitting is perfect. Mark Webber's the championship leader, but he starts 5th. And if it finished the way it starts today, just 20 points will separate the top 5. It's almost like the script is being written, Eddie, or something.
Well, you know, Bernie has been often ridiculed, positively or negatively, whichever way you like to look at it, about orchestrating or organising championship in the past. I tell you what, he must be superhuman if he's organised this one, and full credit to him if he has, because no one could have ever have understood or even anticipated anything like what we're witnessing. This has been a phenomenal season, the best I can ever remember.
And for people tuning in thinking, well, overtaking side in Singapore, Fernando's on pole, surely it's a given. Let's remind them that in Monza 2 weeks ago, Fernando couldn't defend from Jenson Button, could he? So it isn't a given, really.
No, not at all. They've got to negotiate the start. They've got to negotiate turn 2, which, unlike other circuits, you've got a very short run between turn 2 and actually it's turn 3. There's a small kink, which they call 2, where we can get a concertina effect there. So there's a lot of potential incident and accident that can happen. They'll only start to really breathe and settle into their position when they're running down the back straight into 5. Start's important. Safety cars we've seen here in the past, you know, those walls are very unforgiving.
Shaping up to be very nice indeed. The 5 championship leaders all alongside each other on the track today. Whatever you do, don't go anywhere. And if you're wondering just how seriously the 5 guys at the front are taking the next few races, well, yesterday we heard from Mark Webber, and he had this to say. The regret for you would be if you didn't lobby the team to back you and you missed out on the title by the smallest of margins. You'd spend the rest of your life regretting,
Without question, without question, you would do if it come down to that. But also, right down inside, you know that you gave everything you did. You drove out of your skin all year. You did what you could. There's a massive difference between world champion and second.
And with the prize so great, you're happy to be ruthless, maybe a little bit selfish, to make sure that it comes your way?
I'll say yes.
Well, there you go. It's crystal clear. Mark Webber is going to do everything he needs to do to become the Formula One world champion. But of course, he's got a tough day today. He starts 5th on the grid today behind all the other championship leaders, whereas Fernando Alonso, well, he starts at the front with clear tarmac in front of him. The same thing happened 2 weeks ago. He went from pole to the win, and what a party.
Tell us how important that victory was and all the victories that you've had over the years.
Well, it was more special, no doubt. I think winning the Italian Grand Prix for a Ferrari, Italian car in Italy is very special. A lot of passion for Ferrari in Italy, around the world as well, but in Italy especially. So it's one of the races that if you drive for Ferrari, you want to win.
And you couldn't get a much different track from Monza to coming here to this kind of new world Singapore. Is this somewhere you enjoy racing?
Yeah, I enjoy racing here. I think, as you said, two different or opposite tracks. The fastest tracks in the world, and this street circuit, one of the slowest. Monza with all the tradition in Formula One, and Singapore only 2 years into the calendar. So very different races, but different atmospheres, both special for a driver point of view, because winning Singapore, it means a lot also for the driver, because it's a night race, it's a unique event, so we all want to win here in Singapore as well.
You, of course, had a podium here last year. You have a bit of a Singapore reputation thanks to Renault. Is it a relief to come here and be a Ferrari driver in Singapore? Is it like a new start?
Well, I think I don't pay too much attention of the other years or the things or the talks. I like Singapore. 2 times in the podium. Being now in a competitive car as the Ferrari, I'm very confident that I can do well.
We hear increasingly people talking about this isn't a Red Bull track, this isn't a Ferrari track, or this is a McLaren track. As a driver, does that mean anything to you, or do you just put it to the back of your mind?
We know more or less which circuit will suit our car and which not, but at the end of the day, when you close the visor on Friday, you start practice, you forget, and you try to believe that this is your track, whatever the numbers said.
There is Alonso on pole. It's a pole for Ferrari yet again.
Fantastic job today. Really well done.
Good, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Monza, of course, was an extra celebration for you because it took you back up to 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Did you ever feel that you weren't in the running for the championship?
No, never. I knew that one race can put you in the championship. But it's true that now with 5 races to go, if you have a bad race or if you have a retirement, it becomes more difficult because there will be only 4 to go. So we arrive in a point now that there is not reverse gear anymore. So it's just flat out. Whoever does a mistake is a problem. And maybe more a problem for Vettel, Jenson and me that we are behind 20 points. The first 2 guys, they have a little room to mistake still.
But within those 5 guys, 2 of them belong to McLaren, 2 of them belong to Red Bull, so surely that gives you a bit of an advantage that your team will be willing to back you almost in the way that Kimi could sneak up at the end of the season and take it in 2007.
Well, I think this can be a good thing for us, but we don't know. I think for Red Bull and McLaren, they are still 2 possibilities of winning the championship, so that is a very good news for them in a way, because they have 2 chances. For us, if we have a problem or if we have a DNF, for us maybe it's the end of the championship, so it's more risky situation as well.
Do you think your experience as a former world champion or Lewis or Jenson, for example, they can take the pressure better than maybe Sebastian or Mark, who are going for their first?
I think so. I think you race in a more relaxed way. You don't have the pressure or the stress of become for the first time world champion. There is maybe a different approach. As I said, much more relaxed, and you know what you have to do. When you're fighting for the first championship, it's really intense those weekends, and you really live with quite a lot of adrenaline, a lot of intensity that sometimes maybe is not the best thing for this type of races.
Well, it's gone from dusk to darkness very quickly. Race time is approaching. We're here with Stefano Domenicali, the team principal of Ferrari. And Stefano, we can see that Fernando Alonso has just come into the garage. He's behind us live now, just putting on his helmet and his hands device. You had a slight issue yesterday in the second part of qualifying, and Fernando sounded so cool on the radio, very much sort of leading the team through that. That's why you brought him to Ferrari, isn't it, for moments like that?
I think that yesterday he performed very well in all respects. As you know, we had a little problem in reprogramming the car, and he fell down straight away. We saw on the data. Well, we said let's fix the time, because you never know, and then come back and we fixed the bug, and then he did really an incredible job yesterday.
Stephanie, we've been mentioning before that this is really gets quite challenging for the teams now. 5 races, all overseas. The cars are not going back to Europe. Just how much performance can you bring between now and the end of the season, and what is your strategy in terms of trying to develop this car and win this championship?
Realistically, this year, I think that in the next 2 races we have some little bits still to come, not huge. And then really for the last 2, I don't think that we will have really any major update. I think it's really matter to have a consistent car reliable now, because we've seen what was the payoff yesterday. And I think that with such level of performance, with some little upgrades, the key point is reliability and no mistakes, and then we can fight.
Stefano, I'd like to know, just the momentum seems to have changed very much in favour of Ferrari, of Alonso. Do you place any faith, or what's the reason for this momentum change upwards?
Well, I think that I can understand your point of view, but I think that if you look behind the situation with the team, we did a season that it was not too bad at the end of the day. We had some mistakes, we had some problems in terms of performance, but that's something that also the other team had. And for me, the most and crucial point was to keep the team focused on what we have to do, not follow, the star when everything is all right, or the down there when the things are going badly. So that's for sure the most important thing for the team, to keep focus on what we have to do.
Okay, Stefano, you've got the momentum. You've also been noticed by the other teams. They've said that you are the team to watch. So a little bit of pressure now building on Ferrari. But thank you very much for joining us, and good luck to not only your driver starting on pole, but his teammate who starts from 24th on the grid today. Could be a long day for Felipe Massa, but it could also be a long day for Stefano as well, because sitting on the pit wall here, you're just waiting for something to go wrong, because this is such a punishing track for cars, as Mark Webber found out last year when his brakes just went pop.
The Singapore circuit is tough on brakes. With 16 braking zones, the drivers spend 20% of each lap slowing down. These brake discs run at up to 1,000 degrees centigrade at the end of the braking zone. That's why we see them glowing bright red. But much under 500 centigrade, they don't really work too well. Heat management is absolutely critical. The heat transfers around the whole area. You see this thermo strip on the caliper records the peak temperature to let the teams know that the brake caliper hasn't overheated at any point during the lap. The brakes are cooled using these air ducts. Water cooling is banned. The dimension of these air ducts is carefully controlled so that they can't be used to create additional downforce as aerodynamic devices. New for 2010, the ducts can no longer rotate with the wheel. The braking system must be hydraulically operated only by the driver's foot. There's no servo assistance like you have on a road car, so the drivers need immensely strong legs to apply approaching 2,000 psi of pressure. Cars are restricted to 1 brake disc and 1 aluminium 6-cylinder caliper per corner, containing no more than 2 brake pads. The brake disc can be no thicker than 28 millimeters, or just over an inch. High temperatures generate a heavy wear rate, and we see black dust billowing from the wheels in the big braking zones. Brake temperature management is absolutely critical, and the teams control these brake duct sizes very carefully, but they always push the limits. They want to minimise the aerodynamic drag and maximise top speed. Sometimes they get it wrong.
Well, Mark Webber won't be thinking about that right now. The pit lane is open, less than half an hour to go until the race start. The cars are making their way out to the grid. Very shortly, Mark will be going out as well and starting 5th on the grid. I'm sure he's feeling plenty of pressure right now. He hasn't blinked for a couple of minutes. The focus is just incredible. But it's not just pressure on the drivers, of course. What about the guys behind the scenes? Christian Horner, the team principal. He's under pressure to deliver a title right here. And yesterday, we had unique access to his qualifying day.
Certainly at this event it's quite strange, even the hotel at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's quite unusual as well to be able to walk into the circuit. Most circuits we're not able to do that, but it's a good time to collect your thoughts ahead of the day ahead. The fans are the reason that we're here, the reason that Formula One is so successful and popular, and I think it's only right, where possible, to give them a little bit of time. You know, it's great that there's so much enthusiasm and passion about the sport.
Morning. Or afternoon. Right, breakfast time. How are we doing? Good. Afternoon. What time you guys finished last night? 9:45, which is what? Is 2 o'clock. Yeah. That's normal, isn't it?
They're working pretty hard in very tricky conditions. I think this morning they finished at 10 o'clock by the time they got back to the hotel. So it's certainly more of a challenge here in somewhere like Malaysia than it is in Silverstone, for example.
Morgan. How are you?
Seen you all already.
And then what else have you got for me today?
Well, my day's pretty full on usually. I mean, it's a combination of briefings and discussions with the drivers. There's always commercial discussions ongoing, but obviously the main priority and focus is on performance of the team and qualifying.
Yeah. And then you've got RTL in between with the qualifying as well.
Mystery.
This is the team manager from Red Bull.
Hello.
This is Vice Premier of Russian Federation.
With Bernie, it's always a bit sporadic, so you know, I just bumped into him in the paddock and gave some of his guys a bit of a quick tour around the garage to give them a bit of a behind-the-scenes look of you know, what goes into preparing 2 Grand Prix cars for the weekend.
This is Mark Webber's steering wheel. Obviously, what he's got here are the different clutch settings, the front wing, because they can move that. Everything is designed around the driver. Okay. Great. Thank you very much. Okay. This is Pitbull. He's one of the most important guys in the garage. He stops anybody getting in here. Any dramas?
Found an issue with Mark's floor. The turning vane's broken in that floor.
And this one was okay? Or?
No, we broke it during the section and fixed it, but we put carbon repairs on all of them.
I want to make sure that the drivers are in the right frame of mind, that they're going into qualifying or the race in the best shape possible, and they don't need to be told how to drive the cars. That's their specialist area, but sometimes there's things that perhaps they don't see that we get to see through following all the timing, following all the action on the pit wall.
You find it strange with the light or not?
Yeah.
A glare.
Quite a clear visor, but you're going down the pit lane, something will tear off and there's nothing. It's just, yeah, it's the pulsing, I think. It's
a bit like indoor go-karting.
Yeah. Not quite the same.
But faster.
We have an intercom system that is separate from the radio, so on the pit wall, I'll be speaking with the head of race engineering, Ian Morgan. I'll be talking with the strategist, Will Courtney, obviously Adrian, and the race engineers.
World Christian. You may all be aware that BBC reporting that Ferrari have taken the F-duct off both cars.
I know they were looking at it last
night. Well, Christian, after 3 practice sessions, how do you rate your chance here in the night?
It's part of what we do. It's a media business, not just with the BBC, but the Germans, the French, the Italians. You know, they all have their demands, just as you guys do.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha.
10 seconds.
Cool.
Tell Andy we're walking back.
We're walking back.
The thing with being live is, you know, that there's always that added little bit of pressure. I guess it's a bit like in a small way of qualifying that way, you know. You better not screw it up.
There's been a lot of interest. I mean, Martin's really interested in our wings. It seems, you know, you're happy with them this weekend, Martin?
I haven't looked at them this weekend. They look a bit too quick, actually, Christian, for me.
That's the problem.
I think they've been taken off because they're too quick.
Always good to stitch Martin up on camera.
So they're going to go right on the green. Vettel first this week. I think we're too close to Michael. You don't want to be up Schumacher's.
Is this going to be for pole then for Sebastian Vettel?
We're about to find out how strong Sebastian Vettel is in the head. This is extreme pressure.
He's cleared the barrier. That could cost him. Final corner, pit straight. Is this good? No, it's not. It's a pole for Ferrari yet again.
It was looking good for Sebastian. Unfortunately, he got held up by Michael on the first run.
Well, we should have been sharper advising him on how slow Michael was.
Yeah.
He should have left more gas.
Yeah. Well, no, there is no reason. Michael was just too slow. Yeah, I think it's reasonably positive. We're going to make an interesting race tomorrow. Okay. Frustrating, huh? Did you touch the wall at 12?
Yeah, and I lost.
Because you're 2 tenths up going into 12.
Yeah, 11.
11.
We were hoping for the pole. As it turned out, we're on the front row.
And the first sector was good, purple.
Yeah, yes, but second sector.
Yeah.
Our conversion rate from poles hasn't been fantastic this year, but from P2 and P3 on the grid have been pretty good, so I'm hoping that will come true again tomorrow.
Tomorrow, don't worry.
Car's good.
Right.
But David, it's amazing to think that there's frustration as we cross the pit lane. We just got to look to our right to make sure that we're okay because we're walking onto the grid. Amazing that there's frustration at Red Bull after that qualifying performance. It shows how much their idea of where they should be in Formula One has changed, doesn't it?
Well, I think also the fact is that through Friday and Saturday practice, Sebastian was pretty much setting the pace. And of course, you don't know at that point what fuel level other teams are running, and in fact, what engine mode they're running their car in. But I think they did believe they were in a position where they could take the pole. Disappointed, obviously, to be on second, but as Christian said there in the interview, they've not really converted the poles successfully to wins, and maybe second will be more lucky for them.
Exactly what David has just said. They've had an appalling result from pole position. They're probably very happy, just like Christian Horner has said. We're actually quite relieved because it takes that real pressure. Being on pole position for any race adds an unnecessary extra pressure. They don't have it here, and he can go for it. And as well as that, the person who has to do the catching up here is actually Alonso. So, let's see what happens.
Okay, we'll wait and see what happens with Fernando Alonso very shortly. How amazing is this? You can see the Singapore flyer in the background. The floodlights make this 4 times brighter than a football pitch. Just to remind you, though, there are plenty of ways that you can enjoy Formula One right here with us on the BBC. And in fact, if you've missed anything over the course of the weekend, whether it's practice or qualifying, then you can check it all out on the iPlayer for the next 7 days. As well as the iPlayer, there are a number of other things that you can enjoy with us right here on the BBC with Formula One. There's the red button. There's also our website as well, and of course the driver tracker. There's all kinds of things that you can enjoy, and if you press the red button during today's race, you can ride on board with various different drivers. You can also choose alternative commentary as well, and by pressing red at the end of the Grand Prix, you can also enjoy the F1 forum. Thank you very much for pressing the red button to join us for the F1 forum.
He really didn't know which way you were going, did he?
Well, it's lovely to see you, and lovely, I'm sure, to be reunited with Eddie.
Yeah.
What do you think Eddie would be saying to Sebastian Vettel?
I can't say that on TV.
The guys
are just getting the boxing gloves ready right now.
Can we film that?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
What do you look like? I thought I paid you properly when you were with us.
All your emails, all your texts, all your tweets. Thanks for getting in touch. Well, as you can see, the crowd are ready for the start of today's Grand Prix. Let's hope that Martin Brundle is ready for the start of his grid walk. DC, what were you like on the grid when Martin would rock up and start doorstepping you moments before a race? Were you friendly?
Well, absolutely. We're friends, so it made it a lot easier. But I didn't mind chatting with people on the grid. I found actually it was a welcome distraction from the pressure that was going to build when you got in the car. So I think that's the point the drivers start to focus. They sit in there, helmet on, and then they get tuned into what they're going to do at the start.
Are you ready to go and chat to some men that should be in bed by now?
I am. There's a few cars on the grid. Let's see who we can find. See you later on, guys. Well, welcome to the grid. Thank you for giving up some of your Sunday afternoon to watch the Singapore Grand Prix. I hope we can give you a great race. The top 5 in the championship, as I'm sure you know, are in the top 5 on the grid, not necessarily in championship order. The safety car, it's been out in both the Grand Prix here in Singapore so far in the last 2 years. And why is that? Well, there's no perimeter road on the outside of the track, very few cranes, and of course very little runoff area being a street circuit. A couple of secondary impacts. If they do use this, it could well take us to the 2-hour cut-off point in the race. They're running full tanks this year for the first time, so the pace will be slightly slower, and we could end up having a time-limited race. Also, the guys at the front on the soft tyres have got to go far enough in the race, the top 10 on the grid, to get ahead of the first and best runner on the harder tyres who will probably be running much longer. So they need a 28-second gap before they can come in the pits. And especially as it's just 40 miles an hour down the pit lane in the race today, that means they need the full 28 to get in. Now, Alonso's car not yet on its slot, so I don't know if he's got any issues going on there. We'll wander back and have a look. I want to try and talk to. Here. We got Tanya talking to Sebastian, and we will, because we might stop others getting interviews, but we won't butt in on anybody's interview, will we? Sebastian.
It's your turn now, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sebastian. So, front row of the grid. Look at this view. You want to see this? No, we're not. Whatever you were just trying to say. You want to see this view when you get off the line. Yeah. Have you got a chance? The Ferrari's a better starter, isn't it?
Yeah, statistically they have been the last couple of races, but I think we've done a bit of homework and I'm quite confident that we have a good start. My eyes are in the front of my head, not in the back of my head, so I'm looking forward. Obviously Fernando ahead, so ideally we get him at the start. It will be difficult. We are not on the clean side, but I think this year is quite tidy here. They did a good job removing the dust, which was the problem a couple of years ago, so should be all right.
So what are the challenges in the race? Tyres and brakes, how are they?
Yeah, it's a long race. Actually, I think it's one of the most difficult races for the drivers. It's very humid, quite hot, and it's a long lap, a lot of corners, so physically not that demanding, but because of the conditions, it gets tough. Plus the fact that you have to be very focused, very concentrated. There's no room for mistakes, makes it one of the most difficult races all year. So we will see.
Yeah, now I'm standing here thinking that you're the fastest driver around this track this weekend, and you've got the fastest car. Are you?
Well, I think we are up there, and that's what counts, you know. Yesterday, obviously, we were looking for pole. Didn't happen, but second is not a disaster. It still gives us lots of opportunity today. So, you know, and the points are on Sunday, not on Saturday. So, yeah, I think we'll have a good race.
We're looking forward to it. Good luck. Let's see who else we can find around here. And have you spoken to your driver, Sebastian, yet?
Not yet. I haven't spoken to him yet.
You wish him good luck, yeah?
Yeah, good luck, Sebastian Vettel. All the best. Nice race.
Okay, excellent. Fantastic boots, by the way. Right, Alonso is on the grid. He's completely surrounded by fine members of the Spanish media. And let's wander over and have a look. Oh, I'll tell you what I want to do is just look at the brake ducts on the front of this Red Bull. If you can get in there on the right-hand side of the blade, Andy, and that's what we were talking about earlier on in the feature. They completely surround the braking system, and then the size of those ducts are so critical, and it looks to me as if Red Bull have gone reasonably safe on that. Brake ducts, have you gone secure on it this year?
We think so, yeah. You never really know. It's, you know, first time you run in traffic and together, but we hope we're okay.
All right, good stuff. Good luck. So I'm just hearing that somebody is walking down. Jensen apparently is walking back down the grid. Let's see if we can find him. This is Lewis Hamilton's car. Lewis doesn't like to talk on the grid to any members of the media. I don't know if here's Nicole Scherzinger. Let's have a quick word with Nicole, if we may. Nicole, can we have a quick word for BBC? Well, we really enjoyed you being on our British television recently. Have you enjoyed it as much as it seems?
Oh, I've had a blast on X Factor. Yeah, and I think we have an episode airing this weekend as well. So, and I've had a good time with Simon and Louis.
Cool. How long have you been in Singapore? When did you manage to come out?
I was actually working, and I just surprised Louis last night.
He didn't know you were coming?
No, he had no idea. I surprised him. That's a really hard surprise when you're in transit for 20 hours.
Well done. So how is he feeling? What's the vibes you're getting from your man?
I think he's in good cheers. His mom and his sister are here, and I'm sure all of his family back home are with him in spirit. So I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, well,
just bring him some good energy.
Okay, well, I know he doesn't like to talk to media on the grid, so wish him luck for us.
What?
Thank you very much. So sorry you didn't get. They just fired up Lewis's car to try and just check the oil level and what have you. So let's. Here's Ron Dennis. Ron, can your cars win this race?
I think it's going to be a great race. Don't know who's going to win it, but I hope it's us.
And why do you think you can beat McLaren, the Ferraris and the Red Bulls? What have you got they haven't?
a better race pace and definitely better start configuration. So clean side of the circuit. I'd be surprised if we're not second into the first corner, as long as there's no bumping. And then we'll have to see. A lot of people with brake problems, but not us.
Okay, thanks. So, surprised then if Hamilton is not ahead of Vettel into the first corner. Let's see if we can speak to our man Jenson Button if he's on the grid. I don't know. I haven't heard. There's Louise, used to work with us on Formula One. And is Jenson around? It's Danny Sullivan here. Danny is the... Danny, I used to work with him back in '84 at Tyrrell. Danny, you're the judge this weekend, the driver representative on the FIA panel. Has it been a busy weekend? You've been dishing out some fines.
Well, it's been busy, but a lot of them were self-induced, so it's not like we've had to do too much. But as you know, in this position, we're really there to try to look at it from a driver's perspective and protect them and make sure they get a fair go. But it's been busy so far. I'm hoping tonight's very quiet.
Now, what's the deal if they run wide at turn 1 or out at turn 7, they go off the track and they fail to lose a place or they gain a place? Are you going to be hard on them?
If they gain a place, if they'll give it back, then there's no harm, no foul. But if they gain something from it, they have to kind of come back and get back into position where they are.
That's going to be a 2-hour race. Could be a very long night for you.
It could be. Thank you.
See you again. Right, Rubens Barrichello is down here, leaning up against the wall, staying out of the... Ruby, just before you put that on, how are we feeling? Great qualifying again.
Yeah, it was a good qualifying. The upgrades worked on the car, so looking good. I mean, bringing the car around here with lots of fuel still feels good.
There's 5 million people there wanting your seat. You're watching the top 5 in the championship go into the first corner.
I have the best seat, my man. You know, people have been asking, are you going to be careful with that? I don't think I should. I just have to work in the best of our interest in my team and get to the podium.
When you close your eyes finally tomorrow morning in the early hours, what will you be satisfied with in this race?
Better than what I have now, 6. Better than this, I would be satisfied.
Okay, good luck. We'll get out of your way. Thank you. Right, let's see who else we can find. Nico, you normally need to book, a bit like a top London restaurant, several weeks in advance if you want to talk to him. We'll have a go at this Tanya again, look. She's following us around. I don't know if I'll go and talk to. How much longer have we got left? I think we're starting to run out of time. Is Nico booked for this evening?
No, you're fine.
We're fine, are we? We just got to boot Tanya out of the way.
Just one question, Martin. Yeah?
In English, preferably.
Thank you very much.
Not very gentlemanlike. How you butt in.
I'm sorry, I got to do it. What we're talking about here is this cooling jacket that he's got on. I mean, it's so hot. It's hot standing still, doing absolutely nothing. You break into a sweat. And these guys have got an hour 57, hour 58 minimum. It's relentless around this track. I think this is one of the toughest Grand Prix that I certainly know about. That sounds like 2 questions there, Tanya. How are you feeling? Top Mercedes man again?
Yeah, well, Mercedes, there's still Lewis and Jensen with the Mercedes, but in my team, of course. And no, generally, I think we should have done a bit better yesterday because I think we could have been in front of the Williams. I'll try to get him at the start because I'm on the clean side. And then it's important for us just to keep on scoring points, and I'm confident we can do that.
Now tell us about these soft tyres. Are they going to be any good? And how long are they going to last, do you think?
It's going to be difficult, maybe 10-15 laps, but they're going to drop away a lot, and so you just got to get the timing right when to go to the prime.
Okay, good luck. I think it's time for you, Jacob.
Thank you very much, Martin. Well, the wheels will be rolling on the grid very shortly as well. Now, you heard from Rubens Barrichello there. He starts 6th on the grid. He will be staring intently at Jenson Button's gearbox because Button starting 4th. It's right in front of him on the grid. Let's now hear how Jenson's feeling. He's been speaking to Lee.
Jenson, here on a street circuit, I suppose the start is even more crucial than normal.
Yeah, it is, and I think, it's going to be an exciting turn 1, I think, but that's not the end of the race, you know. It can be the end of the race, but it's not going to win you the race. So, long one here. Should be probably just within the 2 hours time limit. So it's going to be a very, very long race, and we've taken that into account. And should be very interesting to see who is reliable in this race. I think it's a tough race on brakes, drivers and also cars. So.
Got the cool suit on. Stay cool out there. Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, it looks nice and pretty out there, David. Might not be too pretty in the cockpit, though. You've been speaking to Jensen about how tough it is to race around here today, haven't you?
Yeah, he was taking part in a part of an Ironman event in Japan last week in preparation for the sort of humidity that they're going to experience in the car. And you had Sebastian Vettel on the grid with Martin mentioned as well. This is one of the toughest races on the calendar, partly due to the length of the race, partly due to the humidity, and it's just a relentless racetrack for a street circuit. The corners just keep coming at you and it's quite bumpy.
OK, well, how will Fernando Alonso be feeling, I wonder? He starts on pole, of course, after absolutely nailing qualifying yesterday. We can now ride on board with him and Martin Brundle.
Let's take a look at Fernando Alonso's 20th career Formula One pole position. Look at the vapour trails coming off the rear wing corner as we go down the pit straight 180 miles an hour. Looks tight from this angle, doesn't it? Turns 2 and 3 follow quickly, just 70 through the apex of 3. Hard acceleration again through the kink of turn 4, and now the very slippery, still slightly damp 5. Cautious through there, back end trying to step out a little bit. A bumpy right-hand curve now through 6. Heading down towards the heavy braking zone of turn 7. From nearly 200 miles an hour, you get tunnel vision, brake the car down to 70 miles an hour. The displaced curb on the outside keeps you away from the wall. Turn 8 is a 90-degree right-hander, taken at 70 miles an hour. Short squirt on the throttle, upshift a couple of times and back down for the 90-degree left-hander of 9. A long back straight up to 170 miles an hour. For the turn 10 chicane ahead, Hamilton says it's a ridiculous corner, and this is why it's so tight and difficult. No room on the outside, no time to relax. 115 miles an hour through turns 11 and 12. Over the Anderson Bridge, up to 150 for heavy braking, down to just 50 miles an hour. Onto another bridge over the marina now, close up against the barrier. That's the barrier that would cost Vettel pole position. We're on track for the front row of the grid, down to just 50 miles an hour into the final sector of the lap now, and it's tight and twisty. A lot of time to be won and lost. A 90 right, 70 miles an hour. You can glance across the curbs into the marina section. Big grandstand to your left. We will now turn left underneath that. Don't use all of the track. You don't need to go fully wide here. A very slippery right-hander up close against the wall. It goes dark inside the cockpit. Again, fly across those curbs. A short straight now building up to 150 miles an hour before the amazing last 2 corners. Slow it down and then just nail the throttle. Hope you've got enough space onto the pit straight. Alonso with a brilliant pole position.
No words, fantastic job today. Really well done.
Good, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Man, what a cool customer. Such a physical circuit. And, of course, the most important thing for the drivers is to make sure that they know exactly where they're going and turning in at the right times. It can be difficult sometimes under these bright lights. So what we have, David, is a change of visor. And what's lovely about it is we get a very rare shot of seeing the driver's eyes while they're racing.
Well, indeed, the drivers have got a choice here of whether they go for a clear visor, and in some cases they actually go for a yellow one, which we'll be able to just show you in a moment. But yeah, they obviously don't need to have the darkened visor because there's not the sun there glaring in their eyes.
So how do you make the decision between the 2 visors that you and Eddie are showing off beautifully now?
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't find a beautiful assistant, so he's got to hold that. Well, I personally went with the yellow one, which is Eddie's holding there, because I felt it just helped lift the light, because basically the lighting around this track is on one side or the other, so it doesn't follow one way around the whole time. So you have to deal with a little bit of light change. A lot of the other drivers prefer just to go with this clear one, and it's really just down to preference, quite frankly.
OK, so all sorts of big decisions for the drivers to make in terms of making the right decision to help them get to the front. It's a big day for 5 men in particular.
The tightest championship battle ever. 5 drivers, separated by 24 points. Only 5 races remain. Speed is essential. Composure is crucial. Failure now could mean elimination.
Well, all eyes on Lewis Hamilton, I guess, today, because he is going to be having a lovely photo with Nicole at the moment, then getting in the car and racing off. A huge start for the Formula One season, Eddie, this.
Well, you know, it's more or less now Grand Prix racing has split itself into 3 different segments, and this is the start of the 3rd one. But this is the final countdown. It's finally into the championship. It's so brilliantly poised. We got 5 protagonists. It's mouth-watering. It's absolutely fantastic.
OK, here we go then. Almost time to hand you over to our commentary team of Jonathan Ledgard and Martin Brundle. It's a dark night here in Singapore. Who can make it to the front and pick up the win?